The 2025 NBA Finals have arrived, and despite all the preseason chatter about which powerhouses would meet under the brightest lights, few people expected the Indiana Pacers to be here. They weren't the favorites in the East. Teams like Boston and Cleveland grabbed most of the headlines, but the Pacers stormed through the playoffs and shocked everyone. Across the court stand the formidable Oklahoma City Thunder, a team many believed would secure a finals berth from the moment this season began. Now, these two squads collide for one of the most intriguing matchups we've seen in years. Yet, hidden beneath the surface are all kinds of rumors and controversies that might make this finals series one for the ages. When the regular season tipped off, the Pacers barely made it onto the radar of analysts predicting conference champions. Boston looked loaded, with a roster hungry to make up for last season's disappointment. Cleveland boasted big names and a deeper bench. Even some smaller market teams seemed to have more momentum behind them. Indiana, on the other hand, quietly went about its business, racking up wins and adapting to new strategies on the fly. Whispers began circulating around mid-season that the Pacers' locker room wasn't always the most harmonious place. Some people close to the team hinted that a few players felt overshadowed by Tyrese Haliburton's rising stardom and that tensions might erupt. Instead of holding them back, these small frictions may have actually fueled their competitive fire. By the time the playoffs rolled around, the Pacers were playing seamless, high-energy basketball. Round after round, they refused to bow, knocking off teams that looked better on paper. Critics labeled their success a fluke run, but each series showed Indiana's resilience. They took down the Boston Celtics in a grueling 7-game battle, and then overcame Cleveland in 6, turning many doubters into believers. Now, they're on the grandest stage of all. Are they truly outmatched, or will they shock the world one more time? Some rumors say there's been extra motivation after people called them undeserving. Others say the front office has used talk of potential trades as a scare tactic to keep everyone on their toes. Nobody knows the full truth, and that mystery only amplifies the intrigue. On the opposite end stands Oklahoma City, one of the stingiest defensive teams the league has witnessed in decades. At times, they seemed downright impenetrable, locking down star after star and rotating with near-perfect timing. Their defenders, from the perimeter to the paint, developed a fearsome reputation. If you listen to insiders around the league, some believe OKC's physically intense style flirts with crossing the line. The phrase borderline fouls has been whispered in arenas where the Thunder stormed in and smothered entire offenses. But no matter how you slice it, the Thunder's system just works. Analysts love pointing out that their defense was over 7 points better than league average, placing them in historic company. They switch nearly everything, forcing ball handlers into tough situations with no safe switch. They pressure passing lanes relentlessly, creating an environment where weak passes lead to easy steals. Whenever the Thunder's defense kicks into gear, it looks like a grown-up team competing against middle schoolers. Some have speculated that behind closed doors, certain rival coaches have privately complained to the league about hidden grabs and holds that never quite get whistled. Fans loyal to OKC claim these complaints come from jealous teams that can't find a way to win. One rumored controversy even suggests the league considered re-emphasizing officiating guidelines about excessive contact, though nothing official surfaced. Whether justified or not, these claims add drama to the story. Is OKC's defense truly unstoppable by talent alone, or is there something else propping them up? For the Indiana Pacers, the key that unlocked their surprising playoff success has been Tyrese Haliburton's ability to orchestrate the offense. He's a smooth pick-and-roll operator capable of shredding defenses off the dribble or feeding pinpoint passes to rolling bigs and open shooters. His court vision is second to none, and the way he accelerates around screens can leave defenders lunging at thin air. But not everything was sunshine and roses. Rumors persisted during the regular season that certain members of the coaching staff wanted Hailburton to play a broader pass-first style, while some front office folks encouraged him to attack the rim more aggressively. Minor tension brewed around whether he was being too unselfish, to the point where head coach and top executives were at odds. Fortunately for Pacers fans, everyone seemed to reach a workable middle ground at just the right time. Now against OKC's switch-heavy scheme, Haliburton faces his sternest test yet. When the Pacers toppled other Eastern foes, they often exploited slower-footed defenders by forcing mismatches, then weaving pick-and-roll magic. But the Thunder's roster is loaded with players who rarely feel outmatched when switched onto a guard. From the perimeter to the paint, they challenge every dribble. How Hailburton responds to these stifling closeouts and quick-twitch defenders will likely decide whether Indiana can keep up. Among the Pacers' many assets, Miles Turner stands out as a potential difference maker. He's the type of big man who can alter shots in the paint while also dragging opposing centers away from the rim with his shooting. When he's hitting from deep, it opens up driving lanes for guards to slash toward the hoop. Yet, even the best big men can be neutralized if they're facing a top-tier interior defense that knows how to rotate quickly. Earlier in the playoffs, the Thunder faced challenges against bigs who could bomb from the outside. During their series with the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic proved tough to handle whenever he roamed the perimeter, forcing OKC's rim protectors to step farther out. Some observers suspect that teams who can effectively spread the floor expose the only real crack in the Thunder's armor. If Indiana can replicate that success by using Miles Turner in creative pick-and-pop sets, this finals could be more competitive than most expect. Still, Turner's task isn't easy. Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren have provided a lethal interior defense for Oklahoma City, clogging the paint and swatting shots. Their presence forced the Minnesota Timberwolves in a previous round into taking contested jumpers for much of the game. Also, the Thunder can switch from dropping bigs into the paint to running them out to block perimeter shooters, all in a single possession. Turner's release is quick, but with defenders as mobile as Holmgren, that split second might be enough to affect his rhythm. Whenever the Pacers have found themselves in trouble, they've turned to their transition offense to quickly swing the momentum. Few teams run the floor as well as Indiana. The entire squad hustles up court, and once Hailburton gains a step on his defender, the ball can zip from end to end in the blink of an eye. In the Eastern Conference Finals, that approach unraveled the Knicks, who struggled to keep pace whenever the Pacers forced turnovers and broke out in transition. However, the Thunder don't make many mistakes with the ball. In fact, both OKC and Indiana ranked among the top 3 teams in fewest turnovers per game throughout the regular season. That means opportunities to strike in transition will be limited. The question is, who can force the other side into more uncharacteristic errors? If Indiana forces a few bad passes or picks off a couple of lazy dribbles, the Pacers can get easy buckets before OKC can lock in on defense. But if the Thunder remain disciplined, they'll reduce the high-speed breakouts that fuel Indiana's offense. Some insiders have suggested that the Pacers might experiment with more aggressive traps in the backcourt, trying to rattle the Thunder's ball handlers, yet it's a risky strategy. Overextend yourself, and you give an elite team like OKC wide-open shots. This part of the chess match might decide the entire series. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been on a rampage this postseason, scoring with such ease that it sometimes feels like he's playing a pickup game in someone's driveway. He's arguably the league's best isolation scorer right now, lulling defenders with a smooth handle before exploding into space for mid-range jumpers or layups at the rim. Even strong defensive teams have struggled to contain his bag of tricks. What's worse for Indiana is their documented struggles against ISO plays in these playoffs. Opponents are shooting jaw-dropping percentages when they go one-on-one against the Pacers' defenders. Some analytics place Indiana's isolation defense near the bottom of the entire postseason field. That's a major red flag when facing someone like SGA, who has no problem taking on an entire team if that's what the situation demands. The Pacers don't have a surefire defensive stopper built to handle Shai's skill set. TJ McConnell fights hard, but he's smaller. Andrew Nembhard might handle brief stretches, but his foot speed and length don't always match up. Rumor has it, the Pacers might consider doubling SGA more aggressively than any other team has tried. Yet that approach comes with an obvious risk, leaving shooters like Luguentz Dort or Jalen Williams open on the wings. If they catch fire, the Pacers' plan B might come crashing down. Throughout this postseason, the Thunder have been called in-your-face defenders. They're known to bump cutters off their path and hound ball handlers up and down the court. Basketball purists appreciate the intensity, but opposing players sometimes feel the Thunder cross boundaries. Complaints of jersey grabbing and borderline holds have surfaced more than once, though calls on the floor haven't always favored the offended party. In one of the more buzzed-about moments from the Knicks-Pacers series, cameras caught defenders practically mugging Tyrese Haliburton to keep him from receiving a pass. It's a style that other teams have experimented with against top-tier guards like Stephen Curry in previous years. If OKC follows that same script, Hailburton could find himself constantly fighting just to touch the ball. Controversy looms over how lenient the referees will be. Some fans say, let them play and keep whistles to a minimum. Others argue the league needs to protect star players from sly off-ball contact. Pacers insiders have hinted that they're ready to lodge formal complaints if the game escalates beyond normal physicality. The tension around this issue sets the stage for some heated moments, especially if Indiana feels the refs turn a blind eye. If that happens, frustration could boil over and lead to ejections or even scuffles on the court. Nobody wants the finals overshadowed by fouls and free throws, but the threat lingers. When a team jumps from being an underdog to the biggest stage in basketball, the spotlight naturally grows hotter. Whispers have surfaced that the Pacers' success is prompting certain bench players to seek bigger contracts or new destinations. Team chemistry might feel the strain of heightened responsibilities and personal goals. There's also talk that if Indiana falls short in these finals, the front office might consider a coaching change, though that seems extreme for a group that just pushed into a historic playoff run. Meanwhile, some believe the Thunder have their own behind-the-scenes concerns. Resourceful journalists have discovered possible friction over whether OKC can afford to keep all their rising talents on big-money extensions. Could a star be on the move soon if the franchise can't pay everyone? Nothing is confirmed, but it's enough to keep fans and analysts guessing. These off-court dramas may or may not affect the play on the floor, but they're part of what makes this final so fascinating. If Indiana manages to shock the world again, they'll become a Cinderella story for the ages. If OKC locks them down as efficiently as they have other teams, we could witness the birth of a new dynasty. Fans of both squads are on edge, waiting to see which narrative prevails. In the end, both teams have plenty of reasons to believe they can emerge victorious. The Thunder's historically great defense, fueled by rugged tactics and anchored by versatile bigs, is a nightmare to break. The Pacers' fast-paced offense and willingness to adapt have carried them beyond what anyone deemed possible. With Tyrese Haliburton's smooth pick-and-roll game ready to test OKC's system, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander primed to shred Indiana's shaky isolation defense, the stage is set for non-stop excitement. Expect the Pacers to lean heavily on their transition opportunities, while the Thunder look to keep turnovers low and funnel Indiana into half-court sets where perimeter stoppers thrive. Expect Miles Turner to launch from deep at crucial moments, hoping to pull big men out of the paint. Expect rumors about questionable officiating, potential trades, and behind-the-scenes squabbles to keep swirling. In a clash where every possession matters, victory might come down to a single defensive stand or a dagger three in the closing seconds. Whether you're rooting for the Pacers to complete their incredible run or expecting the Thunder to cement their dynasty status, one thing is certain: this 2025 NBA Finals matchup offers more intrigue than we've seen in a long time. Will the underdog story continue to defy logic, or will defense prevail and deliver OKC its ultimate prize? Sit back, strap in, and let the drama unfold. One thing is for sure: this battle will keep us talking for years to come.